What's up, y'all? I'm Kerah Whitfield. Welcome to Kerah Speaks, where faith, healing, and real conversations meet. I am a speaker as well as author of the book, Healing Cost Me Everything. That's available right now on Amazon.com. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button and let's build a community. In my last session with my therapist before she discharged me, she asked me, in this new healed version of Kerah, when I go looking for a community or romantic partnership, what type of characteristics does this new version look for? And at the time, I gave her an answer, but I have more clarity now that it's been a while. And it's emotional honesty. That's important to me now. I don't want to have to guess or decode how someone feels. I don't want to mistake closeness simply because somebody says that they like me or are intrigued by me. Because anybody can say that they like you. Anybody can say that they love you. Now I search for depth. Now I want to know why you like me. And a sign of emotional honesty for me is being able to tell me why. To give me an understanding of what's going on in your emotional inner world. I want you to be able to articulate and explain to me what it is you feel. There are certain things that are non-negotiable for me now. And I have learned so much in the last year that I am grateful for. And some things are just unshakable in me now. Like, you can't gaslight me out my feelings. You can't make me think that me asking for what I need is control or pressure. I understand that now I cannot build community with people who are threatened by my size. And I don't mean physically. I mean my emotional size, my spiritual size, the size of my purpose. I can't make myself small because that makes you uncomfortable. I can't abandon myself because you haven't tapped in to your own strength yet. Your walk is not my walk. And people who do feel small, I used to take that as my assignment. And I used to overfunction. And I used to manage their discomfort. I don't do that anymore. I don't have to apologize for existing or to dim my shine or neutralize my impact because someone feels threatened by my presence. Can't do that. That's the old version of me who used to show up. I can't show up in that way anymore because I know what that costs me. I don't have the luxury of regressing to old patterns anymore and thinking that it's not going to cost me anything. It has already cost me too much. That's why I wrote the book, Healing Cost Me Everything. So when my former therapist asked me, what do I look for in community now? I look for people who can stand next to me and people I can stand next to without shrinking. Now I choose places that can hold my strength without collapsing. I can move in intention without feeling like I'm obligated to show up for some people, even though they're not showing up for me in the way that I need. Because people feel like because they're showing up for you in the only way that they know how, then that's enough. And it's okay for you to say, this is not enough for me. I used to feel so guilty for saying that this is the way that you're showing up for me is not enough, because you're not showing up in the way that I need. You're showing up in your limited capacity, because I used to choose people who are emotionally unavailable. That was my fault. I knew these people were limited in their capacity, so I stretched myself further than my own capacity, wanting them to be something that they were not. So now I evaluate better. I look at my environments now. I don't choose people like that anymore. I'm not even drawn to people like that anymore because I've become self-aware of who I am, who I truly am. Because before, when I was overfunctioning, I was performing. That's not really who I was. I am not a people pleaser. I am not a person who overfunctions. I am not a person who manages emotions. That was uncomfortable for me. I felt drained in those situations. That's not who I really am. I am someone who is creative, who is big, who takes up space. And I am somebody who does not apologize for shining. I look for alignment, not company. I don't want people to just be around. I want people where we are expanding. We are feeding off each other, not siphoning from each other. Feeding, watering, nurturing, growing together, intertwining our lives in righteousness, not for convenience, but out of calling. When I think about the type of people I want around me, I want people who are vulnerable. And when I say vulnerable, I don't mean just trauma dumping. I don't mean people who feel safe to tell me their deepest, darkest secret. I mean people who are emotionally mature enough to say, that hurt my feelings and these are the reasons why. And I would like to talk about it. I don't want people who retreat in their wounds. I want people to be able to say, hey, I misunderstand you in that moment. Can we talk about it so we can clarify? And with that expectation, I'm going to hold myself to that same standard. But I know that comes with safety. You have to feel safe enough with people to be able to say that. But you also have to do your own inner work. It's not always about the other person. You have to do the work within yourself to be able to say how you feel, even when your voice shakes. That's about being real that everybody talks about. I'm so real, I'm so grown, but people have a problem communicating and saying how they really feel. Instead of talking about how they really feel, they retreat to their own patterns and keep doing the same thing over and over and over again. You know what I realized about myself is that I started to realize I was facing the same type of situations in friendships. We become friends, we break up. We become friends, we break up. And I had to come to realization, why do I keep encountering these same situations? Different people, but same situation. Because I had to face my patterns. I had to realize why is it that I have friends and then we end up no longer being friends again. And it always is some type of blow up or rupture. It's never just an easy, well, I disagree with you and we mutually go our separate ways. It's always like a fallout. Why is that? And I had to identify why I was having these types of breakups. It's because I was not effectively communicating my own needs and I was managing theirs. I was shrinking myself to be their everything instead of asking for anything, because being their everything made me feel like something. I needed to feel useful because that was familiar to me. That was familiar. And what felt familiar felt safe, but it wasn't safe because I was being depleted every second of the day because I was trying to be so much for so many people, not just in that moment, but my entire life. And eventually the stuff just started to boil over till it became too much. But I had to be honest with myself. I had to be emotionally honest and say, Kerah, you're doing this because this makes you feel useful. I thought love meant labor on my part, that I had to reach for people and do things in order for people to love me, to want me, to see me. It was a means of survival for me. Because a lot of times we attach ourselves to people through trauma bonding. And trauma bonding isn't we both went through something traumatic. Trauma bonding is attaching yourself through insecurities, through ego, through abandonment issues, trying to fill voids that you don't name, but this person represents something in you that you don't have. So you attach yourself to this person and it's unhealthy. That's a trauma bond. And it feels safe in the moment. I was trauma bonded with certain type of people who would withhold emotionally. I was used to that. I was familiar with that. I knew how to perform with people who withhold emotion, who were not emotionally honest, who did not tell me what they really felt. I knew how to perform for their honesty. I knew what to do to try to get them to tell me how they really feel. Basically beg through actions. That's what it felt like. And I thought that when somebody hid their feelings to me, what that communicated to me was, maybe I'm not safe enough for them to share their truth. My needs don't matter enough. How I would see it, well, that's my opportunity to show them that they're safe with me. But I didn't understand that a lot of times when people withhold, that is a form of manipulation. Sometimes they're not even doing it maliciously. They're doing it because that's all they know how to do, because they didn't feel safe growing up. Not because you're not safe. It's because they don't feel safe in their own bodies to express their emotions because they fear abandonment. They fear rejection. They fear people will leave them if they really say how they really feel. Same principle, different manifestation. Now in friendship, I look for transparency. I need the relationship to be based on early and gentle honesty. And when there is conflict, let's handle it with care and with love. Truly, that's not too much. That's not asking for too much. That's the foundation of secure attachment. When somebody is honest with me up front, I feel relief. Feel relief because I don't have to guess. I don't have to walk on eggshells. I don't have to adjust myself and manage the room and read the room. I can just be. I can just exist and not apologize for asking for clarity. I don't have to apologize for asking for transparency and reciprocity. I can exhale. I don't have to anticipate the emotional landmine. When there is honesty in a relationship or a friendship, you feel grounded, you feel open, you feel present, you feel connected. I remember I was dating this guy and I told him it's very important for me to communicate in order to feel connected. And that was before I became the person I am now. I was always expressing myself, but a lot of times I didn't have the language that I really needed to express myself to people. But I will always express myself in a way that shine light on who I was becoming. And I remember telling him, I need to feel connected to you. And I wasn't feeling connected to him because he withheld emotions, because that was his way of feeling in control. And like I said, it's not malicious. That's just when somebody grows up out of control of their circumstances, the only sense of control they have is over their own emotions. But for me, I was reaching for some type of connection through communication and opening up and saying how we feel truly. That's why emotional honesty is number one on my list when it comes to any type of connection that I have now. And honesty doesn't mean that it has to be the hard truth, bluntness, rudeness, harshness. It doesn't have to be that. It has to be gentle. I need gentleness in my life. I did not identify with gentleness and grace in my healing journey. I do now. But I didn't identify that because I didn't think it was something that I needed. Now I know that it is something that I need. It is a core need in friendship, in relationship with me. And these are things that I constantly think about as I continue to move in my healing journey. It is never ending. I am constantly learning. And the more I learn, the more whole I feel. I'm continuing to put the pieces together that were broken for so many years. And every single piece that I put together is a new skill, a new tool that I get to use. It is a new part of Kerah that I'm being introduced to. And I like this person. Not only do I love this person, but I like this person. This is a person that I am meeting for the first time. She was always there. It's like she was always knocking in the back of the door saying, hey, I'm back here. I'm ready whenever you're ready. Whenever you're ready to meet, I'm ready to meet you. And I was finally introduced to her this year. And I am so thankful for my Heavenly Father showing me who I really am. I finally agreed to see myself the same way He sees me. And I always say, if you don't know me now, then you've never met me, because I am a completely different person. I look at videos of myself, I hear how I talk and think, and I just sound different. Not only do I sound different, I look different. And that's what healing does to you. When you do the healing from the inside out, when you walk in faith and speak with the language of healing, you are different. And honestly, I'm just excited to see what else unfolds in my life. And that's how you should be. You should want to heal so much that you become unrecognizable. You don't recognize the old version of you because you are so different. And that's a blessing. That's the most important part of life. The healing is always going to continue. It is never going to stop. It is a part of life. And if you're not growing, you're dead. So that's just the way it goes. I appreciate y'all for watching this episode of Kerah Speaks. Make sure you come right back here every single Tuesday at 11 a.m. I'll see y'all next time. Make sure you stay faithful, healed, and free.
Hey, have you been to KerahSpeaks.com today? Because it's not just a website, it's a piece of my journey. Every section, every word, every design was created with purpose and intention. On KerahSpeaks.com, you'll find my book, Healing Cost Me Everything, the story of how faith and healing transformed my life. You'll also find my merch that carries the same message of healing and hope, designed to inspire and empower everybody who wears it. Because healing isn't just personal, it's communal. Visit KerahSpeaks.com today and join the movement. Faithful, healed, and free.